You know, everything about this system is designed to make you pull back from life. Exactly as John Lennon said in that quote. You know, we live in a system that has its foundation in fear-based mind control. And it is this fear that causes people to pull back from life all the time. And great things have been achieved by those who embrace life. Indeed, all of the great things that have been achieved in history have been achieved by those who embrace life. And everything about this system is designed to prevent us doing that. I mean, sure, we're given certain pleasures we can pursue, certain enjoyment zones we can go and participate in and all that sort of stuff. We're given things to do, but is that really what it's all about? Is that really how you participate in life? Because life isn't really about working and then going to the designated enjoyment zones. Life is about excelling. Life is about experiencing the art of being you. But everything about this system detracts us from that path. You know, even the spiritual paths that we get led down are usually circular paths that lead us into a little blind alley and keep us locked in there in a state of inaction. And it's the same with most of the things that we're given, which appear to be beneficial to us on the surface. They're presented in that way, but when we really look a little deeper, they're not beneficial at all. And if you look even deeper than that, you find that most of them are designed to channel you in a certain direction, down a certain pathway, and give you concepts which simply serve to homogenize your thinking and lead you away from the true essence of yourself. Look at recent changes that have been made to the education system. This has been done under the guise of making it fair for all the children. You know, they'll give people reward cards for simply participating in an event, but they won't give any awards to the higher achievers because they don't want the underachievers to feel bad. So essentially, they're not rewarding high achievers, they're not rewarding intelligence. And what this does is it prevents people from excelling. It makes people believe that everybody is of equal brain capacity or equal ability to everybody else, and this simply isn't true. This prevents people from ever feeling that they can excel. It prevents people from leaving school, becoming entrepreneurs, and it basically homogenizes society so that there are no high achievers because there are no underachievers. And this effectively makes everybody uniform in the eyes of the system, but as I said, it also prevents people from ever being able to excel and remove themselves from the control mechanisms of the system. Now, something that I've said many times before is that what we're actually facing here is a spiritual battle. Many of the things that are offered to us, such as the New Age movement, many spiritual pathways that people pursue, these sorts of pathways are very often designed to steer you away from any real participation in life as well. And that may seem like a strange thing to many people, but it's true. You know, if you spend your life sitting there in hours of solitary meditation, you're kind of missing out on the world that you live in and the people around you who all came here to share the experience with you. And really, it's about the experience. You know, we spend a lot of time during life wanting to find the oneness that we believe exists. But really, when you have experienced that true oneness in meditation or in ceremony, it's actually a very lonely place to be. It's actually profoundly lonely. And you're going to get plenty of that after this experience is over. So make sure you don't miss out on the path and miss out on the journey that you're on and miss out on the experience and the joy of duality, the joy of actually having someone to have a conversation with. Duality in itself is how experience happens. Without duality, you can't have any experience because you're simply at one with the entire universe. You are all-knowing, all-powerful, all-omnipotent. Where is there to go from there? Who is there to talk to? What is there to do with all of that information? You know, could that be why we come here? Why we come here to experience this grand duality amnesiac experiment? Because it's really the only way to have what we would call experience. It's the only way to have any real experience at all. And without the amnesia that goes along with it, well, how would you have anything new ever happen? You'd already know the outcome of everything. You'd already know every experience, every sensation. So you need to come into this reality with a completely fresh slate, not knowing anything, in order to make the experience even worth having. Indeed, to even have an experience. Think of something that you really love to do and remember the joy that you got the first time you did that, and the joy that you received the many times that you did it after that. But if this went on for 10,000 years or 1,000,000 years, I mean, how much joy would you get from it? And so you have to live the life in a state of amnesia, or else there is nothing to experience. You know, one of the greatest things to know about life is that it's about the experience. It's about the journey. It's not about collecting stuff. It's not about material wealth. We often think it is. We think that this quest for wealth and this quest for intellectual knowledge or this quest for whatever is experiencing life, but it isn't. Life is about sensation. It's about taste. It's about smell. It's about sight. It's about feeling things. It's about touch. It's about eating food. It's about feeling emotions, learning what these emotions are for and how to use these emotions, and feeling love for another person, experiencing the trees, the birds, the butterflies, the ocean, all of the incredible things that are here to experience, you know, that only exist in physicality. And it has nothing to do with the accumulation of wealth. It's about the journey. You know, we go down this pathway of this quest for knowledge or this quest for wealth, but what you find is that the more of it that you get, the less satisfied you become. It's an interesting thing. You know, if you gave everybody in the world $10 million or $100 million or $1 billion or whatever, just give them unlimited wealth, probably within a week or two or a month or two, certainly within a year, they'd all be bored silly. They wouldn't know what to do with themselves. If they were able to do everything, they wouldn't know what to do with themselves, because none of the things that they really do in life are real pursuits. You know, like if we get $10 million, what are we going to do? They're going to go and spend it on traveling the world and going to all these places, which have all been homogenized to be the same as everywhere else. Or what are we going to do? Buy fancy clothes or a fancy car or a big house or whatever. You know, we buy all this stuff, we get all these things, but it doesn't really mean anything, because it's not really about that. You know, we think that if we reach these goals, it's actually going to mean something, but it doesn't. It's just a distraction from who we are. It's the same as a lot of the intellectual pursuits that we indulge ourselves in as well. I mean, the more knowledge we get, the less we know, because as you accumulate more and more knowledge, you begin to realize that it's mostly other people's opinions, and you don't really know the validity of most of it anyway. You don't really know how reputable most of these sources are. We might say, well, look, they come from very reputable books by reputable authors, but how do you know? How do you know they're actually reputable? You know, I begin to question everything, because, I mean, ultimately all that we know is that which exists within living memory. All the rest of it is simply stuff that we've been told. What I've discovered is that the only real truth I ever knew and will ever know is myself. If you really want to understand the world and understand the predicament of mankind and attempt to figure a way out of it, you really need to put things into perspective. And something that people need to understand is that what's going on here is essentially people farming. We're living in a people farm, ladies and gentlemen, and the best way to enslave the masses is for the masses to live in a prison that they cannot see.